Dear Dr. Modis and my university peers, today I'm gonna present a case study about the trade issue Australia facing. That's it, China's Australia trade retaliation. First, we will talk about the backgrounds. Initially, Australia has a strong trade relation. First of all, we will go quickly through the backgrounds. Initially, Australia and China has a strong trade relation. Australia has witnessed a significant growth in its export since the Australia and China Free Trade Agreement has come into effect since 2015. However, this leads Australia to become over-reliant in the Chinese export volumes. And as you can look at the two charts on the right, you can see that Australia export volume to China is around 1/3 of its total volumes compared to the moderate amount of China export to Australia, which is around 2%. And now we come to the key event that makes the disruption happen. First, we talk about the Australian side. This is somewhat starting at the 2015 to 2018, where Australia has been understand that they are against the Chinese in the territorial claims in the South China Sea. Secondly, in 2018, there has been a ban on one of their significant technological foreign direct investment into Australia. That's the Huawei, and the Australian had perceived Huawei as the security threat. And finally, the government has called make an urgent call for the independent investigation on the COVID-19 origins and is obviously hurting the Chinese stance in the global situation. China, on the other hand, it has started implementing a list of tariffs and non-tariffs barriers targeting Australian goods such as energy supply, agri-food, and wine. And these wide range of threats will be discussed in depth below. We should also keep updated about the current situation of the trade between the two countries. China has already lifted the barriers on Australian import since the early 2023, and has led to a soar of Australia export volume to China, as you can witness on the top right chart. The Australian export volume to China has witnessed a significant growth since the since these times. And then look down, you will see I will take the coal export as one of the significant demonstration to show you that in 2022 there's almost no export volume to China. However, seeing the trade barriers are lifted in 2023 and 2024, there has been a significant increase in trade. Now we will delve deeper into the impacts of the trade disruption. And the first industry I take is gonna be coal, because China has been one of the top major coal importers of Australia. So in the late 2023, there's a ban in Australian coal import, and this had resulted in a drastic amount drop equal 85% drop in the Australian coal import to China compared to 2023. This has resulted in the significant loss, and there is significant implication for this. The two countries start their diversification strategy, starting with China. China start by importing energy supply from other countries like Mongolians, Indonesians, Brazilians, and this undoubtedly has resulted in the increase in export volumes and benefiting directly the country. And Australia, on the other side, also diversify its trade to other markets like South Korea or India. However, as Australia holding the comparative advantages in producing just such a qualified energy supplies, there has been a resumption in 2023 and the ban has been ceased. Then China has started importing Australian coal again, as you can see in the top right corner chart. The energy import surged in 2023. Beyond the coal industry, there are a wide range of Australian products being significantly impacted by the trade disruption. The first one is wine. This product has been implemented with around significantly high tariffs, let's say 218%. With barley, it's around 80.5%. And also there's some non-tariff barriers such as the custom ban on lobster, wheat, table grapes, and sugar. This line the unofficial ban on the Australian product. It takes the Australia a longer go through the longer process to take the product loaded onto the Chinese market. Also, the Australian pig producer has been affected because they has been called for a revocation of export license to the Chinese market. As you can look on the two right charts, the first one about wine export and the second about barley export, and it's noticeable that in 3 years, 221 to 223, there's almost no export volumes to China. And the indication is pretty clear. Australia must immediately seek to diversify its trade to cover the loss for their domestic business. Also, it has causing distress and losses for a wide range of business operating both outside and outside because they has been arguing with the government about some issues such as why did you goes against China in the South China claims. We talk more about the implication of the Australian currency depreciation compared to the past. There has been both good side and bad side on this. The good side is that the Australian sport will appear to be more competitive as it will be cheaper for the foreign country to purchase the same amount of products compared to the past. And then it will put the export volumes of Australians. However, the bad side tend to be worsened. It tend to escalate the inflation rate of the Australians. And you can see that also, even though that the Australian export volume is increased significantly, we look down, we will see that the Australian inflation rate from 2015 onward, it's been pretty stable. However, seeing the trade disruption and COVID-19, it has been heightened significantly. This resulted in a more expensive living cost for their citizens, such as it's hard for the citizen to purchase the real estate because the foreign investor, they find that the domestic real estate more cheaper for them and they will invest in these, and also the traveling cost for their citizen. About the business side, it will be costly for business to operate as the fuel price increase, and if the business importing material worthwhile, it would be a great hit for them. We talk more about the implication of the Australian currency depreciation compared to the past. There has been both good side and bad side on this. The good side is that the Australian sport will appear to be more competitive as it will be cheaper for the foreign country to purchase the same amount of products compared to the past. And then it will put the export volumes of Australians. However, the bad side tend to be worsened. It tend to escalate the inflation rate of the Australians. And you can see that also, even though that the Australian export volume is increased significantly, we look down, we will see that the Australian inflation rate from 2015 onward, it's been pretty stable. However, seeing the trade disruption and COVID-19, it has been heightened significantly. This resulted in a more expensive living cost for their citizens, such as it's hard for the citizen to purchase the real estate because the foreign The foreign investor, they find that the domestic real estate more cheaper for them, and they will invest in these. And also the traveling cost for the citizen. About the business side, it will be costly for business to operate as the fuel price increase, and if the business importing material worthwhile, it would be a great hit for them. After the impact analysis, I will wrap up with some recommendation, and further on I will talk about the domestic point of view. Australian itself should enhance its national productivity by improving its infrastructures, and there should be more policy allocated to some education development, especially for service, for mining, for technology, and agri-food industry, because the industries are the significant export for the Australian market. And if they are improved in productivities, it makes the Australian good cheaper, and then they can be more easily to diversify its trade and be more competitive in the global market. Secondly, it should build its national competitive strength. With this, it should focus on the service sector. This is the growing sector worldwide. As you can see on the left, the Australian export income from international students has witnessed a surge in 2020, and if the Australia they can capture the trend, and as well as they capture the trend of the Chinese student inflow into the country by addressing some issues such as xenophobia, and they learn from other nations how to deal effectively with the Chinese student. This will be a huge export income for the country. And finally will be the innovation in the renewable energy. We already know that Australia has the advantages of their abundant resources. So with the improved national production capacity, they can somehow export the green hydrogen to some potential country such as Japan and South Korea, and they will take the lead in this industry, make such a huge potentials. And now we shift to the international outlook. Australia should diversify its export volumes. With diversify, it make its export volume more religions, such as they focus not only on the mining sector, but also in the service, the technology, and the agri-food manufacturers, as we already mentioned. And then they can explore the large potential in other markets, such as India's, a big market, as well as China's. And currently India trades is just around 2.1%. There's a huge potential for exploiting. And then Australia should learn from other nations such as Switzerland, Japan, South Korea, and Singapore. Learn how has they diversified their trade and the sectors. Secondly, Australia should fully leverage its bilateral and multilateral free trade agreement with other countries. This would result in a push if they can, they can trade effectively with the country. As you can see with the table on the right, Japan, South Korea, New Zealand, all of the countries have engaged in the FTA with Australia and with some industry on the right, like mining, like food, like service. So if Australia engage in the closer tie with the country, it will reduce its overall reliance on the Chinese economy. And finally, the recommendation will go with the aspect, how will Australia deal with China? First of all, Australia should reduce its interdependence with the Chinas. By navigating any future complexity, they should have the mechanism in place in anticipating some type of future complexities. And then we should clearly understand that diversification not mean decouplings, as China has long been a largest trade partner with Australia, so the conflicts will result in a great cost. So we should seek for the way to maintain a friendly political and economic relation between the two. And Australia should initiate a dialogue to renew its China-Australia free trade agreement to deal with the mechanism to address some issue between the two and maintain a friendly trading climate. Secondly, Australia should learn from other developing and developed countries about how they have navigated trade complexity with China, but also maintaining the relationship with others. Vietnam stand out as the notable examples because they can maintain the trade balance with China and also they maintain the trade with the West, as you can witness on the top right corners. And about the South Korea, they make the same situation. They maintain the trade balance with China and the West as well, with China accounting for 20% of its export, and with the US, it's accounting for 19%. The end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.